Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk live on YouTube.com. It is good old MF Michael Fletcher alongside Anthony the Hitman Florio, the Twisted Angel Didi Woodson, and welcome to another edition of tonight's show. We got a loaded card for you guys tonight. First off, we will have Smackdown Live as always. We also will have my official preview of RWA Dynasty that goes down this Friday night from the Chop Shop in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. Plus, I also have some other news in the world of professional wrestling, and we'll get into that in just a matter of minutes. But I wanted to start the show off with the announcement that we heard a few days ago that rocked the WWE, not only rocked us, because this might have major impact on the wrestling form and Strictly Sports family of shows if this actually happens. Okay, so let me recap and the big announcement that went down on just a couple of days ago. As many of you guys know, WWE did an evaluation of their network programming as it relates to Monday Night Raw and SmackDown Live. And what was happening was WWE had re-upped their deal with Monday Night Raw as a part of NBC Universal's package, and that they were going to keep Monday Night Raw on the USA Network. However, SmackDown Live was not gonna be back on USA, which meant they were looking for a new home. Basically, some people were talking about maybe going to Facebook Live, being an exclusive to them. Some were even talking about Amazon Prime, and that you would have to watch it on their website starting, whenever that deal became. And of course, at that point, I was not happy about Amazon Prime jumping in. If Facebook Watch does get it, then it would have been great. And then, of course, you heard some other major news organization, outlets, media, whatnot. Well, just yesterday, the Fox network, that's right, Fox themselves, the home of Major League Baseball, of the NFL, most recently had, one of the greatest Super Bowls ever when the Patriots beat the Atlanta Falcons. Of course, the home of Major League Baseball, the home of the World Series this June. It's the home of the FIFA World Cup. And more importantly, some great programming on Fox, a la Gotham, The Simpsons, one of the longest running television programs of one of the biggest television programs of all time, and many other great programs on the Fox network. They came out and they announced a brand new deal, a 5-year, $1 billion. Yes, I'm going Dr. Evil on you because it's a billion with a B. $1 billion for SmackDown Live to be on their network. And no, this is not going to be on FS1. This is not going to be on FS2. This is on the Fox Television Network. That's right, guys. For the first time since the CW had it, SmackDown Live is back on network television. Now, we need to know that we do not know the particulars of the programming or what it's going to be entailed. However, rumors from the Hollywood Variety is reporting that SmackDown Live will be a live show from 8 to 10 p.m., possibly going back to Friday night. Now, if that's the case, we in the Strictly Sports Wrestling Forum family of networks, we have a major conundrum now, because Friday night was always Strictly Sports night, and now with this possible move, the Cerebral Smack Talk will very most likely be moving to Friday night, which will cause a little bit of a dilemma for, I know, it's Derek Ferreira and for the Suits, and I know they're probably thinking, oh God, now what do we do? Do we move the show to Thursdays? Do we move the show to Saturday? What is going to happen with Strictly Sports? And most notably, what happens because the movie is supposed to happen October of 2019? That is right in the smack dab of our NFL coverage that we do each and every week and our college football coverage. What happens to their shows as it pertains to the fall? And then, of course, subsequently, what happens with Strictly Sports in that realm now that possibly we might be heading to Friday nights, which would be great for us because Friday night was always one of the big shows. Either Thursday or Fridays was SmackDown territory back in the day before they made the move to Tuesday nights to make this a live program. But whatever the case may be, to be on the Fox television network and be one of their faces of a programming on Fox is a humongous deal for not only myself because of being on Team Blue, but to be back on network TV on the Fox channels. There will be no debates, no problems. Who knows? This might be a blessing in disguise and might even give a ratings boost to SmackDown Live. Now, there was rumors about maybe being a 3-hour format. I don't believe they're going to do that. I hope not. I'd rather keep it at the 2-hour format and just do the 8 to 10. That's normally Fox's programming hours during the weeknights. And then after that, you have your late local news at 10 p.m. So for me, this is a great move, a humongous move. Now we just got to see how the ramifications are going to go. Anthony Floyo, come on in. Give me your thoughts about it. SmackDown Live is gone back to network TV. The Fox television network has scooped up SmackDown Live October 2019, 5-year deal in an estimated worth of $1 billion.
Wow. That's something, MF, I tell you. But, MF, I got to be real honest. Since I heard this announcement, I was wondering to myself, what's going to happen? I mean, how is this going to affect us? I mean, how is this going to affect the company as a whole? Well, I have a few questions that I want to put down. I got about 4 or 5 questions that I want to put down here. And the first question I have is this going to mark the end of another brand split? I mean, Fox ready to shell out such a substantial sum of money for the rights to SmackDown Live. It's only natural to consider whether or not they want all of the biggest stars the WWE has to offer as a part of that deal. I mean, there are 2 dramatically different options in play leading up to the show's move to Fox. I mean, first, there could either be a true definitive brand split with each show feeling significantly different on 2 different networks, and alternatively, WWE can move back to having everyone on both shows. I mean, that idea seems more well suited to the current size of the WWE roster, with a move back to one gigantic roster likely spelling the end of the line for a number of mid and lower card talent simply due to real estate. And a sign that things might be heading back toward one big roster is the recent move to have every pay-per-view on the WWE calendar a co-branded effort. So let's think about that for a minute. Question number 2. Will SmackDown Live expand to 3 hours? I mean, for the better part of the past 6 years, Monday Night Raw has had a 3-hour broadcast on Monday nights. And there are plenty of detractors. A lot of people out there don't like the idea of a long show. But even though overall ratings are not what they used to be, when averaged out over 3 hours, the expanded advertising space and rights deals have more than made up for it. I mean, it's natural then to ask if SmackDown might make a similar move. But honestly, it's hard to take anything off the table entirely, especially considering the amount of money in play and any number of other factors. And on the surface, it seems unlikely that a broadcast network would mess with the well-established 10 p.m. news hour, meaning a 3-hour broadcast would have to start at 7 o'clock on a Friday night. And I think shifting the WWE window up also seems unlikely, but then again, stranger things have happened. So let's think about that. My third question I have is, how will WWE do a live show on Friday night? By all indications, I think they are going to move back to Friday nights, a slot that was previously occupied when they pre-taped the show on Tuesdays. And while pre-tapes were the norm for Thursday and Friday broadcasts in the past, it's so hard to believe that Fox would be willing to shell out $1 billion, more than $200 million a year, for a pre-taped product to air on Friday nights on its network. And if the plan is to air live on Friday nights, MF, it would represent a major departure from the WWE's current production schedule. By broadcasting Raw on Monday nights and SmackDown on Tuesdays in a city in the same general area, WWE is able to restrict its production costs largely to those 2 days. And though there are WWE live events, non-broadcasted shows at smaller arenas, house shows and what have you, that typically happen on Friday nights, a Friday to Monday production schedule on a non-pay-per-view weekend would come with a number of logistical hurdles. But the price tag attached to this move would certainly help. And how is it going to affect? And I have another question here. My fourth question, Big Four pay-per-view scheduling. How is that going to come into play? WWE has made a big deal of offering fans a 4-day stretch of shows surrounding its Big Four events on the calendar, including NXT. If SmackDown was to move to Friday nights, there could still theoretically be a Friday through Monday rather than a Saturday through Tuesday run in the city. It might actually come as some benefit, with the final pre-pay-per-view SmackDown offering a chance to set the stage for the weekend rather than the Tuesday show settling into something of an afterthought role after so many days in a row of shows. And it would also come with some creative challenges in terms of scheduling for WrestleMania week, with the Hall of Fame typically falling on Friday nights. But that seems like a relatively simple fix of either shortening the show as a lead into NXT, Raw, or SmackDown, or as a standalone on Thursday night. My final question I have is, what are some of the other consequences of the move to Fox on Friday nights? Well, in the past, when SmackDown was on other non-NBC Universal networks, there was a plan in place to market Raw and SmackDown on the other show's programming, and this move will be no different. But I think it still feels somewhat unnatural for an NBCU, USA Network in this case, to be advertised for programming on Fox and vice versa. It will sort itself out with time, but it'll be interesting to see how much things change now that Raw and SmackDown will not be on the same network. There are also questions about reaching the target WWE audience, demographic, what have you, on a Friday for a Friday night on live. One of the biggest questions at hand is the astronomical amount of wiggle room such a financial windfall as the one WWE is going to receive with the new Raw and SmackDown contracts, meaning in terms of the on-screen product. Creatively, would it make more sense to really go for it and make new stars, or will there be a pressure to focus on a few key stars and maintain the status quo? How will this deal impact the talent contracts as well? As is the case, when top athletes reach their major windfall of a payday, it could easily go in either direction. Bottom line, it simply depends on what the WWE thinks about how it will affect their audience size and viewership in the long term. So those are my questions. And, I love the idea of it. I mean, it's going to be great to have it on network television. Now, if we can have NBC bring back Saturday Night's Main Event in the future, then I'm a happy man. I mean, I would love to see that more than anything else, but they tried that before and it went belly up. So, one other thing and this is a little funny joke that I came across on a favorite Twitter handle that MF and I follow very much, and it's very funny. Called WWF Primetime Today on Twitter, and they addressed it, and they addressed it, I should say, and the way they addressed it was so hilarious. I had to talk about it. I mean, they talked about going to Fox, and I'm trying to find it right here, and it says, "Oh no, this is terrible. What are you talking about, Brain? We'll end up with a commentary table of Michael Cole, Jonathan Coachman, and Joe Buck. Will you be serious? Oh yeah. So I don't think we're gonna get Joe Buck on SmackDown Live. I mean, that would be very interesting. But then I saw some other guy on Twitter say, if you're gonna move SmackDown to Friday nights on Fox, bring in Gus Johnson. Highly unlikely as well. But could you imagine Gus Johnson calling WWE? I mean, SmackDown Live with his excitable nature? Oh, that would be hella fun. So, but I had to get that off my chest. So, I'm very curious. You know, you heard my questions, you heard my theories. I mean, let's see what happens. So, I'll be very interested to see. I mean, and if it does move to Friday night, that's really going to affect our programming going forward. I mean, and it will affect Strictly Sports, especially when we get to football season, when we do the NFL and college football. We might have to add another night of shows. We might have to maybe Thursday, Saturday. I don't know. We're gonna have to wait and find out. But that's my thought on it. So very interesting. I'm very intrigued, and let's see what happens. So let's let the chips fall where they may, as they say. So with all that being said, Didi Woodson, come on in. Let's get your thoughts on SmackDown going to Fox and Friday nights and all that.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. This is actually first time I've heard most of it. I mean, I heard that they were moving shows, but I didn't know what shows were moving, and all I know is Fox had put a bid in. So this is kind of the first time I've heard exactly all the details of what's going on with it. As far as it going to Friday nights, for me personally, I don't think it would be any kind of a conflict for me, but I know for you guys, you guys have the Strictly Sports, so yeah, that would be quite a bit of a conflict. I do remember the network days for WWE, and the shows were good. I mean, I think you would have a lot more viewership because of the people who, possibly don't have maybe the cable access, or they don't do, maybe they do just like the Roku or something like that, and don't have like a USA or whatever on their device or whatever. So yeah, in my opinion, I think ratings wise, it would probably be better. You'd be able to get maybe more viewership. At least I know you did back then, because you were on, network TV, and a lot of people back then did not have cable. So, that could be a good thing there. It is going to be interesting seeing how it will affect their programming and everything, how that's going to work out. So, because they do have the 10 o'clock news, or some markets, I think they even do news earlier than that. So it's going to be really interesting to see how all that plays out. So I'm game for it. Looking forward to see how it's going to work out. So I'm not going to say too much more. Let's get to the show.
I guess we will find out more or less what it's going to look like once we get closer, because October of 2019 is when it's going to happen. And obviously, with them having at least a year to promote it, more than a year to get ready for this show, I think that's going to be the key, is that what are going to be the hurdles that we're going to have to deal with, preferably the time. Is it going to be on a Tuesday night? Are they going to move it to Thursday? Are they moving it to Friday night? On top of that, is it going to be a live program? I think those are going to be the two biggest hurdles that the Fox network is going to have to answer, and we need to find out very soon. But again, we got more than almost a year and a half for us to prepare for SmackDown on Fox now. And that's also another thing. What is it going to be called? What's the name of the show gonna be? One rumor was that it's going to be just called Smackdown on Fox, just like how they do the UFC on Fox or Major League Baseball on Fox, the NFL on Fox. Are they going to call it that way? Plus, one thing that really talked about that really made them join Fox was because they loved the marketing of how they were handling Major League Baseball, the NFL on Fox, and they were really thinking that now that the UFC is leaving, going to ESPN Plus, and we'll get in on we will get into uh those particular details on Friday with Strictly Sports because that's part of the docket. We got to wait and see how this will play out. But again, that is going to be October of 2019. We are now talking about SmackDown Live today, as it was from the old DCU Center, or formerly known as the Worcester Centrum, in Worcester, Massachusetts, for SmackDown Live. And here we go. So it started with Miz TV. His special guest was the New Day, and the Miz was trying to butter up some trouble, trying to see who was going to be that member of the Money in the Bank, who's going to be the New Day's representative in the Money in the Bank ladder match. Who's gonna be? And the New Day kind of gave a little bit of the runaround. Say, I'm not gonna, we're not gonna uh, tip the hand on it. And the Miz got a little angry. He's like, I demanded an exclusive. I want to know who it is. Well, then they were like, you know what? We're not going to give you that, but you want to fight, we'll choose Big E. So Big E's going to fight The Miz one-on-one, and The Miz is like, no, yeah, you're not getting anything from me. No, you're not fighting tonight. Forget it. Yeah, you don't want to give me the exclusive. I'm not giving you your fight. Get out of here. So the next thing we know, basically The Miz gets showered with pancakes and was put to shame. So he runs off into the locker room area thinking, all right, he's done. No, 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 no. Some little damsel was waiting for him right at ringside. Was waiting for him right in the gorilla position. That was, oh, by the way, the new general manager of SmackDown Live. Her name is Paige. I think we know her. So she's like, where are you going? He's like, I'm done. I'm out of here. See ya. She's like, no, 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 no. You say that you could be any member of the New Day any day of the week. Why not tonight? Why don't you go back out there and you fight Big E and that fight's right now? So 2-for-1 deal. And the next thing we know, we do have the match. And when it's all said and done, the winner of the bout in 10 minutes and 33 seconds was indeed The Miz. He beats Big E, skull-crushing finale. However, there was a little bit of an interruption. A couple of guys decided to stick their nose where it didn't belong. And Anthony, I know you do it with Michael Bullock, but why don't you do it with me this time around? I'll set it up, you finish it off. We don't set the bar.
We are the bar.
The bar interferes and helps The Miz gets the victory over Big E of the New Day. Florio, you lead off.
Why are they on SmackDown Live? It's beyond me, but anywho, 2-for-1 segment. Let's dissect it the best we can here. The opening segment I thought was the second best of the night. I mean, what's the point in dragging out the mystery of New Day's entrant into the Money in the Bank ladder match? But, they still have several weeks until the show, and they obviously want to get a few more segments out of it. And was it just me, or did it seem like they were trying to feel out the crowd to see which New Day member got the best reaction? But none of them really stood out over the rest. I mean, if it was up to me, I would want Kofi in there because we all know the insane things that Kofi can do with a ladder. Trust me, we know what this guy can do, not just in ladder matches, but in the Royal Rumble matches, and we know that story. So we're just gonna park it there. So yeah, but second best segment as far as that one is concerned. I mean, could have been better. But now, as far as the match is concerned, I got to say second best fight of the night. I'm going to give this about 2.5 to 3. What a spot. Did you see that spot where Kofi Kingston jumped off of Cesaro's shoulder and on the Sheamus? That was awesome. Really good. And the match was solid for a TV match, but at the end, it was also nothing really memorable. New Day not revealing which of them will be in the Money in the Bank match makes sense as both a hook and also as a way for New Day storyline-wise to not give their opponents advance notice. So, and it was a fun and entertaining match by Miz and Big E. They put together a fun match, and the crowd was solidly behind Big E, and they got up for all of his big spots. And it's already been announced that next week we're going to get these 6 men in a 6-man next week. New Day against Miz and Bar. Brace yourself, Raleigh, North Carolina. You're going to be in for one hell of a 6-man, I'll tell you that. So nothing more to say on that. 2.5 to 3 for the match. Second best fight of the night, and also second best segment of the night. So basically, everything was second best tonight. So, Didi, what's in your thoughts?
Yeah, I pretty much kind of agree with it. Segment was a good way to start. Match definitely second best. But very entertaining at that, So not much more I'm going to say about it. Fletch, it's yours.
Unfortunately, we got something that's very uncommon here on Cerebral Smack Talk. More common on Ridiculously Raw, but very uncommon on Cerebral Smack Talk. And unfortunately, yes, guys, we got is cutouts. Very rare to have it on the show, but we did. All right, so first off, we had was a women's Money in the Bank ladder match qualifying fight. It was a women's Money in the Bank qualifying match to get into the women's Money in the Bank ladder match. And this was heavily promoted. It was Billie Kay representing the Iconics, which is Anthony's favorite out of the two. And this was a Tony special because it went up against the Ravishing Russian Lana. And the winner of the bout, in 10 seconds and going to Money in the Bank, is Lana. She wins. She did it. What happened was, of course, during the match, before the fight even got started, Aiden English, who was out at ringside, had a sign that said Lana Day. So, of course, Billie Kay Peyton Royce was basically took a little umbrage to that, especially Peyton. Boy, did she get really hot about it. Slaps Aiden in the face. That triggered Lana, which basically slapped Peyton and then tossed her into the barricade. Billie jumps Lana, throws her back into the ring. Then a nice kick to the side of the head that stuns Billie Kay. Then it was the Mashka facebuster. 1, 2, 3. Lana wins. She goes to Money in the Bank. And yes, I think we could also say that, it was indeed Lana Day. What's the old saying? We love Lana. Lana's number one. Yes, indeed, it was. She is number one. She's going to Money in the Bank. And she and her husband Rusev now both have an opportunity at their respective briefcases or respective opportunities where they could bring down the Money in the Bank contracts, which guarantees them title shots anytime, any place, anywhere, up to 1 year. I think Rusev probably got a better chance than Lana does because another one of the big fights later in the evening will prove to be which will add yet another layer to what already is a stacked deck to the Money in the Bank ladder match on the women's end. So the next fight we had was Andre Sinalmas versus a local guy. So of course Andre wins it in 1 minute and 11 seconds. Obviously, we're not going to talk about that fight either, but it is what it is. Big win for Andre. Nice squash victory. You want to give him some, you want to give him more of a feel through. So he's slowly working his way up. He's working his way up, and we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens. So the next thing we had was the promo, which was AJ Styles. It was Renee Young with AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura. This was to plug and, more importantly, to find out what the match was going to be for the Money in the Bank for the WWE Championship. Me and Dee Woodson were having a little back and forth chat about it. Well, we found out what it was. First off, we thought it was going to be a pillow fight. No, come on, Shinsuke. You gotta be. You know, WWE Universe would not stand for that. We would not stand for a fight like that. Well, a brawl breaks out. They go up and down all over the place. Then Nakamura started doing a count, and it instantly clicked in my head. Last man standing. It's gonna happen for the title. Oh my god. WWE, just shut up and take my money. That's all I'm saying. Dee Woodson, it's all yours. You know how excited I am about Last Man Standing for the title. You kind of felt you were, I don't want to say lukewarm about it, but I think you definitely were. You said Iron Man at first, but I think this was just as good of an alternative. Last Man Standing.
I wanted anything other than a pillow fight. I mean, come on, pillow fight? Really? I mean, I thought we definitely got out of that when the Divas stopped being divas and started actually mattering to the universe. So yes, I am very glad that it's not a pillow fight. Yeah, I was going back and forth with what the match could be. Whether it was Iron Man, whether it was Last Man Standing, I quit. I don't care. As long as it was anything other than a pillow fight, I was game for. And if we were actually verbal talking, you probably would have heard more excitement than typing. But yeah, I'm real excited about it. I'm kind of glad that we're getting something that actually is concrete and everything. For me, this is the segment of the night. Definitely, I definitely like the fact, they spilled out into the audience, they spilled out in timekeepers. Even more on top of the announce table. They made this exciting, and Nakamura counting the 10 count. That was very, very cool. And then getting up there and announcing the best he could that it's a last man standing match. I mean, that was just, it was awesome. So, not much more I'm going to have to say about it. So I'm going to toss it over to Florio.
Oh man, I thought MF actually would go after Didi here, but all right. I agree. This was the segment of the night. I mean, now I just need to know one thing. I mean, the only thing that I gotta wonder is how is this gonna solve the problem? Because we've seen last man standing matches before that have ended in draws. What have we been getting lately? Greatest Royal Rumble, double count out. Backlash, double count out. who's to say we can't get the same thing here? I mean, I'm hoping that it ends up being that this finally ends up being that AJ Nakamura match that we've been dying for, that we've been waiting for. Hopefully, this will be the instant classic that will be that match of the year candidate that we were expecting back at WrestleMania, which unfortunately it was not. They've also done a good job shifting Nakamura away from laugh lines into being a more irritating, vicious heel. So, yeah, the brawling was great. Both men were great on the mic here, and they did it perfectly. I mean, I could have done without that little pillow fight moment, but other than that, I mean, they delivered in spades. And don't get me wrong, I'm excited about the match. I'm very excited about the match. I mean, this has potential to steal the show. But my only concern is that this thing could end in another draw. Because like I said, we've seen last man standing matches end in draws before. Batista and The Undertaker, Backlash 2007, the Phillips Arena in Atlanta. That last man standing match ended in a draw. So who's to say this one can't end in a draw? I hope it doesn't, but we need to seriously entertain the thought, my friends. We really do. So, but don't get me wrong, I'm excited about the match. I'm very much excited about it because last man standing matches tend to be fun and exciting. But like I said, the only nitpick, the possibility of another draw, because it's there. It's there. We have to seriously consider it. So, MF, you're right to say you're a legendary shut up and take my money line when it comes to the WWE network. I get that. But just entertain the idea. That's all I can say. So, but other than that, my little poo-poo over segment of the night, well done. That's how you set up a last man standing match. Very well done. So, nothing more to say here, MF. Let's just move on.
All right, and the next thing we had was a tag team fight, as it was the Usos versus Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, the Good Brothers. And the reason why for this fight to happen is because the winner of this match will receive a SmackDown tag team title fight at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view event. And they go up as they will get a chance to face the Bludgeons for the titles, the winners of the bout, and the team that gets the opportunity at the titles at 4 minutes and 32 seconds. Anthony Floyd, what do you know? Calling me surprised. The Good Brothers. They were Good Brothers tonight. They took down the nerds of the Usos. They're the #1 contenders. All right, I guess I'll call it. I think that's just the shocker of the night. I did not think that that Gallows and Anderson was going to win this. I honestly did not think they were going to win it. I honestly was thinking, oh, great, they're going to give it to the Usos again. No, color me surprised. Just for the shock value in itself, I could give this about 2.25 stars. I mean, it was a decent fight. It was a good match. Yes, it was a little short, but the upset and now the Good Brothers gets a shot at the gold. Wow. I mean, congratulations to the Good Brothers. Anthony, it's yours.
Too sweet, me, MF. Too sweet.
Too sweet.
And I got to pull my vintage Jesse Ventura here. Big win for Anderson and Gallows. They've been so marginalized so often, though I wonder if this just does more to harm the Usos than it does give them a boost. But other than that, I mean, it was just about a 5-minute match, 2 to 2.5. Nothing really to write home about. But I got to be honest here. I got to do my little nitpick like I'm infamous for. Like MF is on Ridiculously Raw. I'm going to be that nitpick poo-poo guy when it comes to SmackDown Live, and that is, how do you think this is going to go down at Money in the Bank? There's only one way it will go down. I'm guessing that Gallows and Anderson are going to be the next victims of the Bludgeon Brothers until a certain faction from NXT shows up by the names of Eric Young, Killian Dane, and Alexander Wolf? Or do we see Sanity possibly cost the Bludgeons the titles and they go after the Good Brothers? I mean, there's lots of possibilities and lots of scenarios, but so little time to think about it. So, but my guess is the Bludgeons will go over at Money in the Bank. But it is so great to see the Good Brothers get an opportunity here. I mean, the Usos, they've been in that scene long enough, honestly. So I think it's time for a change, and let's spread the wealth a little bit. You got a loaded tag team division, and I'm glad that we finally got to see some other teams in the fold tonight, other than the Bar and the New Day. You have other tag teams, and I'm glad you finally utilized them tonight, the Usos and the Good Brothers. I mean, I would have liked to have seen a little more, of course, but for what we got in the just about 5 minutes we got, it was solid enough. And I got to say 2 to 2.5, and nothing more to say except D.D. Woodson. Let's go to you now. Nothing more to say here. So it's obvious that the Good Brothers are going to get fed to the Bludgeons before Sanity decides to finally come in.
Anybody that would go up against the Bludgeons are going to be fed to the Bludgeons before Sanity gets there. So it didn't matter which one of these teams won. I mean, I don't see either one actually coming out on top with the titles when the pay-per-view comes up here on Father's Day. And there's a billion scenarios of what could happen. I mean, if it's not Sanity coming out to interrupt, it could be Usos coming out. It could be, New Day coming out. It could be anybody coming out that wants to stick their neck in there and put their stake on that they want to be the next ones to go for the title. But I do agree with the rating. It was a a fairly good match, and it was good to see one of the other SmackDown tag teams actually get out there and do something, because there's not very many SmackDown tag teams, and what we do have, they don't show very often. So it was good to actually see one of them out there for this match and to kind of liven it up, especially after that first hour being so boring. So this was a good, the segment and the match was a good start for hour 2. So not much more I had to say about it. Fletch, take it.
All right, and we're going to kick it really into high gear now because of the fact that the next fight that we had was a Money in the Bank qualifying match for the women, and it was Naomi going one-on-one with former Absolution member Sonya Deville. When it was all said and done, the winner of the bout and the person who goes to Money in the Bank is Naomi. We will be feeling the glow on the Money in the Bank. And when I talk about this being the most star-studded, most deepest women's fight ever, wow. Oh my God now. I mean, if you look at the lineup, it is a who's who of the women's division. It is without a doubt. If you thought the first Money in the Bank was amazing, this one's going to be one for the record books. I mean, just the titles won in the match alone by all these women is remarkable. It's unbelievable. Other than maybe Lana, I mean, I think each one of them are all a former champion in one sense or another. I would believe. Anthony, you can clarify me on this one. I know Lana's not a champion, was never a champion, but Charlotte's a multi-time champion. Alexa's a multi-time champion. Naomi's a multi-time champion. Who else is in that women's Money in the Bank?
Ember Moon.
Ember Moon, former NXT champion.
Right.
So, I mean, my God. Who leads off? Is it you, Anthony, or is it Dee?
I believe it's me because I think you started on the
Yep.
tag team match.
All right, so it is you. Go ahead, it's all yours. Naomi advances to Money in the Bank.
Solid fight, but not really anything to write home about. But they put the right one over here. I mean, no disrespect to Sonya at all, but you want to make this the most star-studded and stacked women's Money in the Bank ladder match. Other than, aside from Lana, I mean, you got what a field we have here. I mean, that is one hell of a field we have here. I mean, with the exception of Lana, every other woman in this match is a former women's champion within their own right. I mean, think about this. I mean, you said it in that. Charlotte Flair, multi-time women's champion. Alexa Bliss, multi-time women's champion. Natalya, a multi-time women's champion, as well as a former Divas champion. Let's not forget. Burr, women's champion, multi-time Smackdown women's champion. I mean, she used to have that LED championship, as I called it back when she ran with it. So endless possibilities here. I mean, to me, no disrespect to Lana, and you're right about it, MF. I do love Lana very much, but she's the only weak link in the match. I mean, you've got the veteran leadership of Natalya, and you've got the abilities of Charlotte, Alexa, Ember, and Naomi. I mean, you got all their athletic ability in there, and now we have one spot left, and we're going to determine that on Raw Monday night when we have the 7-woman gauntlet match with Sasha Banks, Mickie James, Bayley, all 3 members of the Riot Squad, and Dana Brooke. So anybody can win that. So we'll have to wait and see how they decide to round it out. My gut's telling me Sasha goes over, and if you put Sasha Banks in there, oh Lord, that's all there is to say on that. The women's Money in the Bank match could be actually better than the men's. It could actually steal the show over the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, even though they've got a solid field too. But so many possibilities, so little time. That's been my theme tonight. So I can only give it 2, maybe like 1.5 to 2 for the effort. It was fine for what it was, but it just didn't really click, if I'm going to be real honest. And, but it was fine for what it was, though. Good effort, but it just didn't really wow me. That's all I can say there. So congratulations, Naomi. Well-deserved. They put the right woman over. No disrespect to Sonya, but that women's Money in the Bank ladder match, oh boy, we're looking at one for the ages. That's all I can say on that. And Dee Woodson, as I bring you in, our women's expert after all. I mean, I don't think you could be any more delighted about the field for this match.
Oh yeah, the field is very, 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 very good. I mean, you guys are sitting here talking about champions. You also got to think you have at least 3, I believe, was in the last year's Money in the Bank ladder match. And so they already know what to expect over, the ones coming in from Raw that have never been in there. And of course, Naomi, who actually had the title at the time that they had this ladder match last year. So, that right there, having the ones with the experience and already know what to expect, that's going to be, making it even 10 times better. I do agree, Lana being in there is kind of a downer. But then again, the Iconics just came on the scene. They haven't really shown much, so they really didn't deserve to be in it either. But I think they could have picked somebody better than Lana to to get this push, but we'll see what happens. Right now, I think most the projections I've been hearing has Amber Moon one of the early projected winners, but of course we still have several weeks to go, and we still have one more slot to go to find out who's going to be in there, and there's no telling, who we'll get from Raw for that last slot, but this is definitely stacking up to be one heck of a match. And yeah, I agree, it could be a possible show stealer. As for this particular match, I'm going to give it probably the 2 stars, because I mean it was, it was a fairly good match. No, it wasn't something to write home about, but it was definitely better than the match earlier in the evening. So not much more I'm going to say on it. So Fletch, I guess it's yours.
And we go into the main event of the evening, and this one was a highly anticipated matchup. Was announced by General Manager Paige just the night ago. Big Cass was unable to go due to a leg injury. It was first started by Daniel Bryan a week ago in London at the O2, and then the injury got further injured during the European tour. Thus, Big Cass was unable to fight, and it was announced that Daniel Bryan was going to go one-on-one with Jeff Hardy in a second chance match, and the winner of that fight will fight Samoa Joe next week, and the winner of that match gets the final spot in Money in the Bank. Here we go. The winner of the bout, 12 minutes and 48 seconds. Daniel Bryan with the heel hook, a tap out victory. He gets to face Samoa Joe 1 week from now. Didi Woodson, I give it to you. I guess I think we're all in agreement here. Fight of the night?
Definitely fight of the night. You couldn't have asked for a better match to end the show on. You have 2 extremely energetic guys in the ring. You have your veteran Jeff Hardy, and then you have your returning superstar in Daniel Bryan. And I mean, it was just, awesome, pin after pin, and even if it was, a 1 count or 2 count, it's just each attempt made it that much better. And it was definitely a crowd pleaser, definitely, one that I definitely would write home about it. So they definitely did a great job with it. As for rating, I think I'm going to go 3.5 to 4. So yeah, I'm going to shoot this one a little bit high, not because of the who's in it, but just the fact that not only was this a second chance qualifier, but it was something of a match to where you left feeling good about the winner of the match. And that stare down there at the end between Joe and Daniel Bryan, that was just, it was classic. So not much more I'm going to say about it. Whichever one of you takes it next, go ahead.
I agree. At least 3.5 is my rating for this fight. The fight of the night, without a doubt, and it was a clean victory. Yes, they had Samoa Joe at ringside, but Samoa Joe was not even involved at all. He had no bearing whatsoever about the match. Never got involved at all. He basically was at the commentators' table. Did not, nothing happened about it. It was absolutely amazing how this played out. And for me, this was a great way to close the show. An incredible main event matchup, and it was a dream fight, a match that we all were waiting for, everything that we were hoping for, and then some. And it was excellent, man. Nothing bad to say. Definitely worth the fight of the night as it was announced. 3.5 stars for me. Anthony, it's all yours.
I'll make it unanimous. 3.5 stars. Fight of the night. Great stuff. And it really is a treat watching Daniel Bryan compete every week. I mean, and I love that he's using the heel hook as a finisher. It's a great move, and it fits his character as a savvy in-ring technician who works a body part well. And furthermore, I love seeing legit submission moves used as finishers in WWE nowadays. That's really great. And of course, now with this win for Daniel Bryan, he's going to face Samoa Joe next week for the opportunity to enter the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. Of course, Samoa Joe is going to be deemed the favorite, but Daniel Bryan could just as easily score the win and make it one step closer to completing what would be one of the greatest, if not the greatest, comeback story in WWE history. So, I mean, 3.5 stars and MF. I mean, you know the history of Daniel Bryan and Samoa Joe from Ring of Honor, because you are our port authority on Ring of Honor, and you know the history of Bryan Danielson and Samoa Joe, and I'm sure you've seen their matches and you've memorized almost all their matches. And I mean, I know that's got to be exciting for you.
There's not that many battles that they've ever had in the history of Ring of Honor, but man, I believe there's like maybe 2 or 3 that I'm thinking off the top of my head. I'm gonna have to do some research, but I do know there was one fight and it was unbelievable. Samoa Joe was a very young individual. Daniel Bryan's very young as well, but this was like maybe not even like, God, it has to be at least 10 years before these two men actually faced off. So, I mean, like I said, I got to do some research, but yeah, so I can't wait. This is going to be amazing. So, nothing. Yeah, 3.5 fight of the night. And the overall rating, guys. So, you know what? I'm going to say this. At the beginning of the night, it was optimistic. I mean, of course, the bar was really low on because Monday Night Raw kind of gave us a 50-50 show. And the first hour, not great. Even Didi Woodson and I, we kind of agreed the first hour wasn't really that amazing because of the fact that we had The Miz, and The Miz TV, and then the match. Okay, that was fine. But then the Lana fight didn't really do anything for us. The Andrade Cien Almas fight didn't really do anything for us. The show really jumped off in hour number 2 with the announcement of the last man standing for Money in the Bank. Then you started seeing the show start to get good. The tag team fight was solid. Naomi's fight was decent, not great, but it was solid enough. But the main event just rode it home. I mean, this was excellent done. Excellent stuff. As such, I'm going to give it a 6.5 to 7 out of 10 for me. So I'm leaning more 6.5 because, like I said, for most of the show, it was a little down until the second hour. Then they clicked. It hit for me. So obviously, they beat Raw this week. 6.5 out of 10 for me. Anthony Florio, I give it to you.
Enjoy it this week, MF, because I'm hoping that Raw will rebound when we get to Monday night in Richmond, Virginia, which is where the next Monday Night Raw will be, with Seth Rollins and Jinder Mahal for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship in that women's gauntlet match, which hopefully will be a lot like that last gauntlet match we had back in February. But, you know, only time will tell. But I agree. SmackDown clearly won the week this week. I mean, Raw was a 5 to 5.25 in my eyes. 6.5 to 7. I agree 100% with your rating, MF. I mean, rock solid show. They focused on locking in more participants for Money in the Bank. You made a tag team title match, which was a pleasant surprise. I was not expecting to see that, but that was a nice surprise. You also named the stipulation for Styles and Nakamura, last man standing, which I am excited, but at the same time, I'm worried that we might get another dusty finish. I hope and pray in the name of our Lord and Savior that does not happen, but it is what it is. Main event was incredible. Sum it all up, the opening segment, it was the second best. It was fine and even fun, but solved nothing as far as delivering on the Money in the Bank announcement. It was the old bait and switch there. Big E and Miz, second best fight of the night. That was 2.5 to 3, maybe 2 3/4. It was a pretty good overall, but the ending was very flat and unsatisfying. No comment on the cutout matches, even though I was pleasantly surprised to have Lana in there, as a single man bachelor or whatever. But at the same time, the thought of Lana in this Money Make Ladder match is kind of horrifying. But Andrade did his business, another squash. The segment where Nakamura named the stipulation, segment of the night, that was well done. Good Brothers going over. I like the Good Brothers getting the shot, as the Usos have failed so many times against the Bludgeons, and the Good Brothers are going to be fine challengers of the month as sacrificial lambs. It was the Naomi match over Sonya Deville, perfectly fine for the time given, and then the main event. Good main event. While they didn't get a ton of time, which that's my only nitpick, I wanted to see more because of who we had, but it was enjoyable, and I would love to see a pay-per-view match between these two down the road. If you put those two in a pay-per-view match, that's 4 to 5 easy. But Bryan getting the win, he can lay claim to a U.S. title match down the road, maybe. But more importantly, he gets another chance into the Money in the Bank when he goes up against Joe, and Joe was great on commentary, and he did a great job of hyping the match. So, yeah. So SmackDown Live, you did it. Writing was on the wall after last night's meh Raw, but it is what it is. Enjoy it this week, MF and SmackDown Live, because I'm going to tell you, next week we're coming to play. Next week we're coming to fight. So don't get too cocky. This is not going to be an every week thing. Let's not forget that there will be weeks where Raw will be better, and I'm hoping next week will be one of those weeks. So optimism on my part, but we'll see. So 6.5 to 7, SmackDown wins. You're right. So, Didi, did you give your thoughts yet?
Nope.
All right, it's all yours then.
I definitely agree with the rating, 6.5 to 7. Yeah. I think I told Fletch before he said anything on our little chat that, yeah, the first hour really just was a bore. The only excitement in that first hour was the opening segment and match. So basically, if you're going in to watch this and you haven't seen it yet, make sure you've DVR'd it, because you're going to want to skip from after that first match all the way to AJ and Nakamura, because that whole little area there just was not worth your time. It was, pretty much a waste. No ratings matches pretty much. So, but yeah, definitely SmackDown came out with it on top this week, and I'm game to see what happens with Raw, if they can topple SmackDown this week or not. That's to be seen. I know they're going to have to either give us better quality matches and not as many as they did last week or they did yesterday, or just give us better quality, period, because we need to get the freaking monkeys out of the writing team. So, not much more I'm going to say about it. So I will see you guys next week. I'm assuming there's not a show Monday because of the holiday. So I will see you all whenever the next show is. So good night, gentlemen. Peace out.
Good night, Dee. Yeah, I have not heard anything about a show next Monday, so I do not know for sure. If we do or not, then we will let you know. All right, guys. So, thus, it is time for the Mikey's Mindset. You guys are on my Facebook now. This is my Facebook page, and yes, guys, you're looking at it. This is the RWA. It is gonna be Dynasty. It's going down this Friday night, live from the Chop Shop in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. And ladies and gentlemen, here is the official fight card. This is the last of it. No more matches from what I know, but it's going to be one heck of a show. We started off with the Riot, Kellen Thomas, accompanied to the ring by the lovely Deanna on Fire. He puts the RWA Hype Championship on the line against Todd Harris. Todd Harris won a #1 contenders fight at April Rain, and now we'll get the ultimate opportunity to possibly walk out with the belt and maybe heading into Legacy, which is their biggest event of the year as RWA Hype Champion. Of course, Kellen Thomas, the Riot, wants to keep the belt. We will find out on Friday night what will be the deal on that. Then the RWA tag team titles will be on the line. The Middlesex Express will defend, will get their opportunity, and well, they'll put their title on the line against Justin Sylvia and Hotshot Deshaun. This is going to be a very interesting matchup, to say the very least. I think you could see it there. In recent months, Justin Coco's Sylvia has been on the receiving end of much disrespect by the Middlesex Express. At April Rain, after a match, Sylvia and Lust had fellow Brickhouse Baker trainee Hotshot De Silva saved Sylvia from a 2-on-1 attack from Lust and the manager Chad Epic. Now at Dynasty, the rookie tag team gets a shot at a once in a lifetime chance to become the RWA World Tag Team Champions. What's that going to be like? We'll find that out this Friday evening. Also on the fight card, guys, as we go up, good. Oh boy, here we go again. Our website's being a Dinkelberg again. All right, hold on, folks. I'm sorry. Ugh. There we go. So that's the whole thing. Where are your discussions? Technology. You gotta love it. All right, here we go. It was right here. All right. So we got Eddie Vegas going one-on-one with Dan Terry as... I guess this ain't gonna work. Okay. So forget about that. We'll just move up. See if we'll get to the next fight. Here we go. It's going to be a tag team match at April Rain. Izzy Starr tried to be a peacemaker for Tom Millington and the Insane Dick Lane, but it resulted in Christopher Dozier basically doing a knockout punch, and now all of a sudden, these four men are gonna either gonna have the right to fight it out or talk it out. But whatever the case may be, we will see. Now, I don't know if this is a fatal four-way or just a regular tag team fight, but it will involve the Unbalanced Messiah, Christopher Dozier, the Terror, Tom Billington, Izzy Starr, and the Insane Dick Lane. We'll find out about that Friday night. Of course, a big tag team fight. We're going to get Nicholas Marchand and Jimmy Hansen representing the Foundation. They go up against the tag team of the Mind Eraser, Mike Grassa and Big Daddy T Phoenix in a tag team attraction. That's going to be one hell of a match, to say the very least. And in our main event of the evening for the RWA Triple Crown Championship, it will be Chris Cruz putting the title on the line against one member that is selected by a wrestler selected by T Phoenix and one member from the foundation in a three-way dance for the richest prize in the industry, the RWA Triple Crown Championship. We will find out who they get for that match on Friday night. Again, as always, it is going to be the biggest wrestling event of one of the biggest wrestling events of the year. It is Dynasty. It's going down this Friday night, May 25th, from the Chop Shop in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. The fights start at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and you guys can get it. Tickets on sale right now at squareup.com. $10 for general admission, VIPs $15, and for kids under 12 and under, you get in for $5. And let me tell you, this is a historic event, a big event to say the very least, because this is the last event before Legacy. It don't get no bigger than this. So that is it for the Cerebral Smack Talk. I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. Sorry that the show went a little longer than I wanted it to go, but hey, we had so much stuff to cover. Anthony Floyo, come on in. Why don't you hit us one time with what's going down on Strictly Sports this Friday night?
Friday night at 10:30 on Strictly Sports. We're going to try the same docket we were going to have last week. We're going to try it again. Hopefully there will not be any technical difficulties or any of that other stuff. We're going to pay our respects to the late, great Chuck Knox. Matt Patricia charged with sexual assault. 2 firings in the NBA. Stan Van Gundy and Dwayne Casey, both fired from their respective head coaching positions. The UFC will be moving to ESPN Plus in 2019. Matt Harvey traded to the Cincinnati Reds. And in our double main event, we're going to preview the Stanley Cup Finals. It will be set come Friday night. We know one half. It's going to be the Vegas Golden Knights representing the Western Conference. And they're going to go up against either the Washington Capitals or the Tampa Bay Lightning for the Stanley Cup. And we'll get into all that on Friday night. And then, of course, we'll close it out as we always do with our Major League Baseball Power Rankings. And that's pretty much it. So that's Friday night, 10:30 on Strictly Sports. MF, hopefully you'll be available this time. I mean, you had work commitments beyond your control last time. And then Michael Bullock ended up having those serious issues with the Google Hangout. But hopefully nothing of the sort will happen again this Friday night. I really want to get this docket out of the way because it's a hard time docket. You know how I am about that. So nothing more to say here. We'll see you Friday night. MF, wrap it up.
Yes, indeed. And thank you so much for watching this, guys. Like the video, leave a comment at the bottom, share it with all your friends on all the social media platforms. For Anthony Floyo, for Didi Woodson, I'm Michael Fletcher. Have a good night, everybody, and so long for now.